You know that moment. You're in bed together. She's right there beside you, close enough to touch, quiet enough to hear her breathing. And still, something feels off. You kiss her. You try to read her. You tell yourself not to overthink it, but you can feel it. She's physically there, emotionally somewhere else. And the room fills with that strange kind of silence, where nothing is technically wrong, but nothing feels fully real either. And in your head, it's fast, brutal. Why does this feel forced? Am I doing something wrong? Why does it seem easier in movies than in real life? Why can't I just get this right? Why does she feel close one moment and far away the next? Here's the truth most guys never hear. She doesn't open up because you used the right move. She opens up because her nervous system stops bracing. That matters more than technique, more than timing, more than performance. You're not broken, you're not behind. And this is not about becoming smoother, louder, or more experienced. It's about understanding what actually creates connection, safety, and real desire beneath the surface. By the end of this video, you'll understand why pressure kills attraction, what makes a woman actually relax into intimacy, and how to become the kind of man she feels safe enough to want. Let's get into it. Most people believe attraction is about doing the right things at the right time. But the real truth is that intimacy is not built through performance. It's built through safety, presence, and emotional accuracy. That's the part nobody explains. Your partner's nervous system is reading you before her mind can catch up. She feels your urgency. She feels your pressure. She feels when you're trying to get somewhere instead of actually being with her. And here's what changes everything. When safety leaves a connection, desire doesn't always disappear. Sometimes it just goes underground. Most couples misread that. They think distance means lack of attraction. They think hesitation means rejection. They think if they just try harder, push more, escalate faster, things will click. But trying harder without changing the emotional tone usually makes the other person feel even more withdrawn. Because this isn't just chemistry, it's attachment, it's presence. It's whether two nervous systems feel like they can soften around each other. What looks like mixed signals is often self-protection. What looks like low desire is often someone who does not feel fully safe, fully seen, or fully unrushed. And once you understand that, your whole approach changes. Not because you learned a trick, but because you stopped treating connection like something to extract and started treating it like something to build. Most couples get trapped here. Most people in relationships walk into intimate moments already aiming for a result instead of paying attention to the person in front of them. And that pressure is felt immediately. The deeper truth is that when someone feels like you're trying to make something happen, their nervous system often tightens before either of you says a word. Especially if they've ever felt rushed, misunderstood, objectified, or emotionally unseen in past relationships. What you call confidence can land as pressure. What you call intensity can land as expectation. And inside her, something may be whispering, "Do I get to have my own pace here?" The disconnecting version sounds like this. "Come on, relax, just trust me." The connecting version sounds like this. "We don't need to force anything. I'm here with you. We can go at your pace." That's a completely different energy. Not neediness, not passivity, not tiptoeing. Just presence. Real presence. And when you bring that into the room, the walls between you start coming down without either of you having to say a word. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples think desire begins when physical touch begins. But the real truth is that for a lot of women, desire starts much earlier than that. It starts in how you speak, how you listen, how emotionally available you are when nothing sexual is happening. Most people in relationships separate emotional connection from physical intimacy like they live in different rooms. They don't. They're the same room. If she feels dismissed all day, unseen all week, emotionally alone in the relationship, her body may not suddenly trust the moment just because the lights are low. Because safety is cumulative. It's built in small moments, in repair, in consistency, in whether she feels chosen when there is nothing to gain. The disconnecting version sounds like this. You barely connect all day, then at night you suddenly become affectionate and expect her to switch gears. The connecting version sounds like this. You check in earlier. You notice her mood. You ask, "How are you really doing?" And you stay long enough to hear the answer. Her brain quietly registers, "I'm not being approached, I'm being met." And that's the shift that turns a relationship from performance into permission. This is where it gets really interesting. Most couples are not failing because they don't care. They're failing because they miss the unspoken. A pause, a change in breathing, a smile that looks polite instead of real, a body that is present but not turning toward you. Most people in relationships are trained to watch for obvious yes or obvious no. But beneath the surface, intimacy lives in nuance. And if you can't read nuance, you'll keep missing what she feels, and then wondering why connection keeps drifting. The deeper truth is that many people have learned to stay agreeable even when they feel uncertain. Not because they're dishonest, because somewhere in their emotional history, it felt safer to manage the moment than disrupt it. So if you only listen to words and ignore energy, pacing, and presence, you can miss the real conversation entirely. The disconnecting version sounds like this. She didn't say stop, so I assumed everything was fine. The connecting version sounds like this. You got a little quiet just now. Want to slow down? Want to tell me what you're feeling? That sentence changes everything, because now she feels read, not managed, not pushed, not translated into an outcome. And that's when your partner stops feeling like a problem to solve and starts feeling like a person to come home to. Not more intensity, not more confidence theater, not pretending you know exactly what you're doing, but two people who actually feel safe enough to be real with each other. Most couples never figure this out. Most people in relationships think attraction grows when one person takes control of the moment with absolute certainty. Sometimes that can look exciting from the outside, but in real life, pressure is often just panic wearing cologne, and people can feel it, especially women. She feels when you are more focused on proving yourself than being with her. She feels when your mind is racing ahead instead of staying here. Your nervous system in intimacy is like a smoke detector. It cannot always tell the difference between anticipation and pressure, between eagerness and threat, between closeness and being cornered. So if you bring too much force, too much agenda, too much "I need this to go well," the alarm goes off anyway. The disconnecting version sounds like this. You keep escalating because you're afraid slowing down will kill the moment. The connecting version sounds like this. You slow down because the moment matters. You let eye contact breathe. You let silence be safe. You let her come toward you too. And when you do that, something in her starts saying, I don't have to protect myself right now. That is the beginning of real intimacy. And this is the one most couples never figure out. Most people in relationships bring ego into intimate moments without realizing it. They want to impress, to perform, to be the one who knows what they're doing. But here's what nobody explains. Ego makes you less accurate. Curiosity makes you emotionally intelligent. The deeper truth is that every woman is different. Different history, different pace, different comfort, different patterns, different ways her body responds when she feels safe, when she feels rushed, when she feels emotionally connected, when she doesn't. So the man who assumes he already knows becomes less trustworthy than the man who stays curious. The disconnecting version sounds like this. I know what women like. The connecting version sounds like this. I want to understand you. What helps you feel relaxed? What helps you feel close? What makes you shut down? Bro, that is not weak. That is maturity. Her inner world is quietly registering. He's not trying to fit me into some script. He actually wants to know me. And that's the shift that turns chemistry from guesswork into connection. Here's the hard truth. Most couples say they want honesty, but most people in relationships only welcome honesty when it sounds convenient. That's why so many partners go quiet, not because they have nothing to say, because somewhere deep down, they don't fully trust how their truth will be received. If she thinks your ego will collapse, get defensive, get cold, or make her responsible for your feelings, she may stay polite instead of being real. And then you mistake politeness for connection. But politeness is not intimacy. It's self-protection in nice clothes. The disconnecting version sounds like this. She gives soft feedback, and you get visibly frustrated, withdrawn, or embarrassed. The connecting version sounds like this. Thank you for telling me. Seriously, I'd rather know the truth than have you carry this alone. That sentence creates room, real room, not shame, not tension, not silent punishment, but emotional safety. And when honesty is safe, repair becomes possible. That's when the relationship stops feeling like a test and starts feeling like a refuge. And here's what changes everything. Most couples approach intimacy like one person leads and the other responds. But the real truth is that the deepest connection happens when both people are creating the moment together. That's what presence does. It makes room for two people, not one person managing the pace while the other adapts. Most people in relationships have learned scripts. Be dominant, be desirable, be effortless, be cool. But real intimacy is rarely smooth in that polished, movie scene way. It's human. It breathes. It checks in. It adjusts. It laughs. It slows down. It becomes more real the less either of you is performing. The disconnecting version sounds like this. One person tries to drive the entire experience, while the other quietly follows. The connecting version sounds like this. There's mutuality, eye contact, checking in, space for either person to say yes, no, slower, not yet, more of that, less of this, stay here. And suddenly, the whole tone changes, because now she feels with you, not handled by you. And that's the shift that turns intimacy from something you try to make happen into something you build together. So no, this is not a checklist for being better in bed. It's deeper than that. This is about who you're becoming. A man who can regulate himself. A man who can stay present. A man who doesn't confuse pressure with confidence, or performance with connection, or intensity with emotional depth. Because when you internalize this, you stop trying to get a reaction and start learning how to create safety. You stop chasing proof and start becoming emotionally available. And she will feel that difference before you ever try to explain it. These are not tricks, not lines, not hacks. This is what maturity looks like when it enters intimacy. And honestly, man, that changes everything. Because the deepest desire is not pulled out of someone, it's invited. Real intimacy begins the moment you stop trying to make something happen and become someone safe enough for something real to happen with.